why don't I'll go ahead and sit in here for the moderator, so we can go ahead and get started, because we do have some exciting pitches later on, and we want to try to keep on track as much as we can. Excellent. All right, so now we're doing the crowdfunding panel. So, I mean, this is a fantastic...
Who's excited? Who's excited out there?
All right.
Yeah, yes, love it.
Thank you.
How many of you have funded a project on any of the crowdfunding sites?
Thanks.
Great.
Your community thanks you.
So why don't we go around and introduce yourselves, and we'll get Harlan up here as well.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Jose Huitron. I am the co-founder of Crowdismo. We're a rewards-based crowdfunding platform fueling innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship within the Latino community.
Hi, I'm Kate Drain, and I am the director of, I have like the longest title in the whole world, but I'm the hardware category director at Indiegogo, and Indiegogo, which is the world's leading crowdfunding platform for creative, entrepreneurial, or creative, entrepreneurial, or cause-based campaigns, and it's a perks and donation-based platform.
Hello, I'm Pepe Villatoro, and I'm the CEO of Crowdfunder Mexico. We're an equity crowdfunding platform, and Mexico is our first international expansion.
Great. Sorry, I must have... All right.
You're doing everything. You are...
So...
I can buy time if you want.
What's so I've seen fantastic projects that have been funded. But before we get some of your favorites, how did you end up in the space of crowdfunding? And why don't we start with Kate?
Sure. So I actually have I moved to San Francisco 4 years ago for grad school. I went to Presidio Graduate School and got my MBA in Sustainable Management. And when I was there, I met my co-founders, where we started the Can Van, which is a mobile beer canning service for craft breweries. And so we're, like many people looking to start a business, we were trying to figure out how to get capital. And so we've heard about this thing called Indiegogo, and this was October 2011. We started a campaign, and we raised $4,000 out of a $10,000 goal. That $4,000 helped us to get up and rolling. But we didn't anticipate that we would be featured in Fast Company 4 months before we were operational, that our largest equity investor would find us off the platform. Our largest off-platform equity investor found us through Indiegogo and invested. She only invests in boozy enterprises owned by women, and we fit that unique niche. So for me, it was this major turning point moment where I actually saw how this could make a huge impact on a small business, especially one started by 3 women entrepreneurs. So I was looking for a job in the spring of 2012, and I met with somebody who I knew through the Indiegogo campaign, and I said, hey, you're from Chicago, I want to move to Chicago, do you have any leads for me there? And she's like, actually, you sound perfect for a job at Indiegogo here in San Francisco. So it was too good of an offer to pass up. So that's why I'm here.
Fantastic. And Pepe, can you share your path to crowdfunding?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I need to declare that I'm guilty of being a bro. And yeah, but I'm the poor Latino who was born and raised in the second poorest state in Mexico, in Chiapas. And in Chiapas, 40-something% of the population is indigenous. And with indigenous, we mean people that don't speak Spanish. And obviously, they don't speak English. And so, when I was a kid, my dad actually comes from one indigenous country. He only went to elementary school, so he had to do businesses. And when I was a child, he owed millions and millions of dollars. So I got to work with him, and I learned that businesses can empower people and can change lives. So I also learned that fundraising sucks, that fundraising is a pain in the ass. And from there, I went to, well, I became a social entrepreneur. I'm a physicist who became a social entrepreneur. I created the innovation team in Telmex. And from there, I met the people at Crowdfunder. Ray first, very cool angel investor, very successful, and also World Series poker champion. He was my mentor, and one day he sent me an email saying, "Hey Pepe, look what I'm involved with now. How would it look like in Mexico?" And it was Crowdfunder, and I loved the idea. Or I was already analyzing and creating partnerships with equity crowdfunding platforms in Telmex, in the big empire, Carlos Slim's empire. So long story short, they tried to create a partnership with Grupo Carso, with Telmex. It was impossible because of politics, I don't know, wrong incentives. And they invited me to become the CEO of Crowdfunder Mexico. So that's why here, well, in Crowdfunder Mexico, I'm learning that fundraising can be hacked. I actually love fundraising now, because it's very funny for a Latino or a Mexican guy from Chiapas to come to Silicon Valley and see that everything is super structured and that you actually put fundraising in stages, and you only talk about equity and high growth potential and exits. And in the rest of the world, 99.9% of the companies in the world are being funded in other ways. So when you see it that way, you can build that into a product. And that's what we're doing with Crowdfunder, creating a different type of funding platform, bringing a lot of education to entrepreneurs and investors outside of Silicon Valley, and also changing the law. I'm changing the law in Mexico. A physicist writing laws. So maybe it sounds dangerous. I think it is, but it's working out. And that's it. That's me.
And Jose, you can answer that question, or I'll give you another question. So,
I want to hear your story, though.
You want to hear my story?
All right, let's hear your
Okay.
story first.
Okay. Do you have that much
Okay,
time
is that
now?
okay?
Do you have,
Well,
no.
let's do the 5-hour version. No,
Okay, let's do the 5-hour, 5-minute, no, 50 seconds. Okay. So I want to just start a little bit about my personal story. As I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad and my brother have ran a small business for over 35 years now. And so this idea of being a chameleon and being able to take on whatever kind of idea that comes my way has kind of been ingrained in who I am. And so I went to an event called Startup Weekend. Many of us are probably familiar with that. Startup Weekend peeps in the house, raise your hand. It's an awesome launch pad, right? So looking at, ideas are the currency of the 21st century. And I noticed that a lot of people and associates and nuestra gente, I communicate with a lot of my colleagues, and tremendous ideas on, let's do this, let's do that. Or did you know that I did this? And wasn't that awesome? We just did this fantastic event, or this fantastic undertaking. But I didn't get paid. There's no money. And so there's a quote that it's kind of an inside joke. It's like, just send them an invoice. So, which is, you can't make a living just sending people random invoices. So going to Startup Weekend, I met my co-founder and my tocayo, Jose. We launched the idea of Crowdismo, which is recognizing that there's a significant access to capital gap within the Latino community. So we said, let's power Latino genius everywhere. Let's fuel innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship within the Latino community. Let's make it happen. And we've launched, and that's kind of how we got started. That's the Crowdismo, the short story of Crowdismo.
Excellent. And but just a side note, I think some individuals have scammed scammed companies out of funds by just sending random invoices. So, not that I'm advocating that, just stating.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to hear. So I know some projects have just gone wildly successful. Is there one in particular you'd like to share, and maybe give us a little insight into what you think made it be what it turned out to be? And we'll start with Pepe.
We helped fund a Y Combinator company, and it was crazy because every week the cap went up and up and up, and it was really hard to show that in the deal room and to tell investors, oh, it changed again, oh, you're late again, and the convertible notes kept changing and changing and changing, but it raised like 2.5 times more than they were expecting with convertible notes, so it was okay for them. And they began with an 8 million cap, and then they finished with a 15 or 16 million cap. Like crazy, crazy stuff. So I would say that's the most successful company that have raised money in crowdfunding.
And do you think it was something about their story or their approach to getting people on board?
It was a mix of two things. Again, going back to the investment talks, and the same as everyone says, it was the founder, one CEO and founder that actually can close investments, that can be bullish to investors. That's the secret. And, and the second thing is the traction. They were growing like 65% in revenue week over week. So it was like easy.
Kate, so I know I saw the first project that Kate mentioned to me when I heard her speak a few months ago was this crazy bug salt, I believe. But there's maybe another one. I'm sorry?
Oh, I do love the bug assault. So if I'm gonna mention a different one, but the bug assault, just in case you've never seen it, it was started by an entrepreneur in Southern California. I almost said SoCal. I don't think people say it. Do people say it? Anyway, so there is an entrepreneur in Southern California who created a weapon that, it's not a real weapon, but it is a plastic gun that shoots a tablespoon of salt to kill a fly. And it's very effective. We have them in the office. They're very popular in our Indiegogo office. We wish there were more flies. Not that we really wish there were more flies, but we wish there was more opportunities to use it. But a campaign that I feel like did really well and that I think that there's a lot to learn from is the Scanadu Scout. So does anyone watch Star Trek? Anyone? Okay, yeah, exactly. Thank you for being brave and raising your hand. Nice, nice. So the Scanadu Scout, what they made was a medical tricorder. So you could hold it up to your head and it could give you all of your biometrics. And so this is something that had never been done before. It was an incredible technological feat that they had accomplished. And so people contribute to crowdfunding campaigns for one of three reasons. First is the person, because they feel that there's a personal connection. Typically, you raise your first 30% of a crowdfunding campaign from people who in your inner circle. So it's like first is your inner circle. Second, so like there's 3/3 to the amount of money you raise. The first third is from, again, inner circle. Second is from their circle, and then third is from the push that you get from the Indiegogo platform. So then 2 is the passion and the participation of being part of what you're building. And then 3 is the perk, the thing you're getting in exchange for a contribution. So I'll go back to the Scanadu Scout story. So what they did really well, they raised over $1.3 million. And through that campaign, they were able to really, like their pitch was amazing. It really connected with people on a personal level. Like not only did they create an amazing piece of technology that really helped other people, but they told their personal story of why they were inspired to do this. They were inspired to do this because the 2 founders of the companies, they had a son who had to be in the hospital for an extended amount of time, and so Walter, the CEO, would sit next to the beeping device, and someone else here knows what the device is called, but he would sit in next to the hospital bed, and he could understand what it was saying, and he's like, why does it have to be a doctor who understands this? Anybody should be able to have access to their blood pressure at any time, their oxidation level at any time, and so he set out to create that. And so people really resonated with that story because it came from something personal. So what I would say is, my one piece of advice, if you take it from it, when you are creating a perks or donation-based campaign, probably even an equity campaign or debt-based campaign, is that, actually my piece of advice is not for an equity campaign, but to realize that the people, your audience, is not an investor, it is a consumer. So don't talk to them like they are investors. Talk to them like they are consumers and people who are there to help you cultivate, like who are there to share in your shared enthusiasm, as opposed to make a transaction, as opposed to donate to you. Like you're creating something where they get to be a part of something. They get to participate. They get to like make something happen, and it's because of you that they get that experience. So that's my piece of advice: shared enthusiasm. Yes.
Excellent. Jose, want to share one?
Absolutely. I think the one I'd have to share would be our first project, which was the Heartful Giving Project. So it's this gal who recognized tremendous talent of Suwa, Ecuador, and she wanted to build a community arts center that allows gente in Suwa to share this rich artisan craft with the masses. And they needed money, so she was able to raise some money on the site. And we were really, really delighted about that because in crowdfunding, it's not just about the money, but it's like what Katie was saying, it's about being a part of something bigger than yourself. And at its core, crowdfunding is engagement, right, at its core.
I wanted to take a question from the audience. I'm not sure we have, do you want
Hey, look at this. This is engagement in real-time engagement. Can you stand up? Is that okay? Thank you.
thoughts from any of the panelists?
One of the things that I love about the Jobs Act and the future of crowdfunding and what's happening now in terms of the various platforms that are equity-based as well, and even rewards-based platforms, is in the scope of the Jobs Act. You know, if you're successful on a crowdfunding platform, it sends investment signals to bigger investors. And so I think either way, you know, you're a winner across the board.
Any?
I would just say for Indiegogo, the way that we are approaching the Jobs Act is so there are a few titles to the Jobs Act, and the one that directly affects us is Title III, and it's still being worked out on what that's going to look like. So we've been watching it very closely. We were there when the Jobs Act was signed. We were the only crowdfunding platform that was present at the White House, and we've been advised, like our co-founder Danae spends a ton of time in DC. It's crazy. But at the end of the day, it's what everybody's looking for is what is that actually going to be, and hopefully it's going to empower and lift people up, and it's going to be restrictive enough where people feel safe, but not restrictive that it feels restrictive.
So I'm a fool for the Jobs Act. Jason, Best, and Whitney, the guys who created Startup Exemption, the crowdfunding part of the Jobs Act, are actually our part of our board members at Crowdfunder. And two co-founders of the company were also in the lobbying efforts with great people there. So right now I'm doing the same in Mexico. It's way simpler what we're proposing. It's very powerful. And talking specifically about the Jobs Act, yes, we are getting ready in the US for Title III. We have some companies already doing some general solicitation, thanks to Title II. And then for the rest of the world, well, for example, in Mexico, I'm part of the Mexico-US Entrepreneurship and Innovation Council. We are co-founding the Latin American Crowdfunding Association. I'm a consultant for the Inter-American Development Bank on crowdfunding in Latin America. So we're joining efforts with a lot of people, from the State Department to people in Mexico, to change the law, but in a fashion that is more similar to what they're doing in the UK, learning first and then changing the law with secondary legislation, not the other way around.
Great. I think we have time for one more question. All right. If not, I'll ask one then. So let's say 5 years from now, you're back. Crowdfunding is totally different. In 20 seconds, what do you think will be different about crowdfunding in 5 years? And we'll just start here with you, Jose.
The beautiful thing about crowdfunding is it's unleashing the power of what some are terming the intention economy, and being able to tap into presumers, which is kind of an early stage of, I want to, me as a consumer, if I want a product, I'm going to create my own product and create my own demand and kind of push what I want as a consumer, and I'm going to crowdfund what I want and what I want to impact my life. So I think you're going to see that kind of evolve and kind of, I think brands have a mix in the space, and as do many different platforms and organizations. But I think that that idea of the creative economy combined with this idea of prosumers and the intention economy, I think is going to be in full force.
Kate?
In 5 years, so I head up a lot of, I've never heard that, presumers? I might, okay, thanks. You heard it first. So I work a lot in this pre-tail because I work with hardware, I work with design technology. And so what I really love crowdfunding for this reason is how I see it impacting the way things are made. And I really believe and I really see that what I love about crowdfunding is the fact that it rewards people for being transparent, for being authentic, for being clear about who they are, the people behind it, and where they are in the process, what their skills are, and then getting consumer input, like getting input from all of you to say what they want to see in it, so that then it is made to it's tailor-made to you. And so I see that there are big brands watching this very closely. So right now on Indiegogo, we've had Philips run an innovation contest. Honda is currently running a campaign. Acura just did a campaign with us as well. And so big brands are watching this space. And what I see is that they're learning from crowdfunding. They're learning from all of you. They're learning from what you are doing. And so that's a very powerful, amazing thing, because you have the power to impact the way that things are made in the future. And what I love about it is that it's going to help us to see, like, and this is in 5 years, I see them more being aware to be like, this is the supply chain of this product. This is the person who made it. This was the designer on it. This was what went into it. And there's that transparency, because that's what gets rewarded in crowdfunding. And so that hopefully will be what gets rewarded by brands as well.
How many years from now?
Well, 5 years.
Okay. I think crowdfunding is more related to a behavior than to an industry. So in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, I imagine the concept of collaboration, meeting capital, embedded in all types of platforms, industries, websites, or whatever. So that's my take. Mm-hmm.
Great. All right. Well, we're keeping track, and thank you very much. And we give them a round of applause.
Thank you.